This is Cooper with FedRetirementPlanning.com, and today I'm going to talk about my top 5 tips for young federal employees. When meeting with federal employees, I've noticed a lot of similarities between them, and one of the biggest similarities is when they reminisce about their earlier career, so when they first started. And something I almost always hear is, I wish I would have known this sooner, or I wish I would have done this sooner. This is a sentiment that's talked about often, and something that, if you're young and you're a federal employee, you're starting in your career, or you've only been in for a little while, this is something that you can change. This is something that you can prevent yourself in the future having to look back and say, man, I wish I would have thought about that sooner, or I wish I would have began planning sooner. But my first tip for young federal employees is to start a rainy day fund. Now, a rainy day fund essentially is you put some money into something that is highly liquid, like a checking account, a savings account, money market account. The reason you do this is so that you don't have to face, these unexpected emergencies without having some cash reserves. Okay, so an emergency could be a medical emergency. You could lose your job. You could drop down in salary. Your family could face a medical emergency. Well, your car could break down. There's a lot of federal employees that live paycheck to paycheck, and they don't have to. Okay, the reason is because a lot of times they live what's called the American dream, and the American dream is nothing more than just, sometimes, at least it seems this way, is living in debt. And you don't have to live in debt. So my first suggestion is to start a rainy day fund. I think this is absolutely essential to protecting yourself and your family. This is something that a lot of people talk on, and I completely agree with. And I guess I would suggest around 3 to 12 months of your expenses in a rainy day fund. So in something that's highly liquid, easy for you to pull out of just in case you need to. Okay, the second tip I have for young federal employees would be to know how much you're paying for your benefits. This seems very elementary, but in reality it's something that a lot of federal employees, not just young ones, I see this a lot with people that are retiring and have no idea how much they're paying for their benefits. Okay, one of the biggest benefits that I see people not understanding how much they're paying for is FEGLI, Federal Employee Group Life Insurance. Okay, Federal Employee Group Life Insurance increases, excluding basic life insurance, but option A, B, and C increase in price every 5 years up until age 85. Now, the one that increases the most, or the one that you'll see most often, is option B. Now, something that I suggest federal employees look at, especially when they're young, is to try and qualify for a commercial life insurance policy and then compare the rates. Okay, so go out and get a quote for a commercial life insurance policy for the death benefit that you currently have or the one that you want, and then compare the cost over your career. So if you want to keep life insurance until you retire, just take the cost that you're going to pay, with the commercial life insurance and multiply that by the amount, and then take, what you're going to pay for FEGLI over that lifetime of your career and see how much you're going to pay. I actually have an Excel spreadsheet I do this in that makes it very easy for me. So if you'd like, you can comment and I'll see if I can help you out. But it's really good to see, how much you could save over your lifetime. I mean, you'd be very surprised. Okay. The third one for young federal employees, the third tip I have is investing 5% in your TSP. And this is for those who have a match. Now, why 5%? Well, the reason you invest 5% is because you receive up to a 5% match from your agency. Now, not every federal employee receives this, but I would say the majority of people watching this do receive up to a 5% match. Okay? Now, basically, let's say that you only put in 1%. Okay? You're leaving about 4% on the table of a match that you could be receiving. So you're leaving money on the table. Free money, essentially. I mean, this is money that they're offering you. You put in 5%, we're going to match that 5%. That's an awesome benefit. I mean, it really is. Okay, anywhere else, 5% is actually a really high benefit. Okay, that's a really high match. Okay, and then also, why not? Why would you not invest more than 5%? That's a question I get a lot. Is why just 5%? Well, if you're going to invest more than 5%, which is great, I don't ever limit your investing from what you can afford. But if you're going to invest more than 5%, you're not going to receive anything over 5%. So my suggestion would be to take a look at what's available outside the federal system. So look at, various IRAs that are available to you and see which one suits you best. Okay, the reason is because you're going to have fewer restrictions when it comes to withdrawals. You're going to have more options for investing. With the TSP, you only have the 5 options plus the L funds, whereas outside the system, I mean, there's, 1,000,001 different options. Okay, and then my 4th tip is to get rid of debt. Okay, and this is kind of something that should take place before everything else. Okay, now, it maybe shouldn't take place before having a rainy day fund because I like people to be secure, but getting rid of debt is something that should definitely be a priority, and especially for you young federal employees, getting rid of that student loan debt. So for you that just recently graduated and are starting your career, pay down that student loan debt. Student loan debt has a high interest rate typically, anywhere from 6 to 8%. And that's a pretty high interest rate on a loan. So get that paid down. That way you can begin investing in building your nest egg for the future. And my 5th and final one is to seek help. And for you watching this, you're already doing this. You're looking at the resources that are available and trying to figure out how you can better your future. And this is something that, I applaud you on, because there's a lot of federal employees who won't seek help until it's time to retire. And then it's already too late for them to change things. But if you're young and you're watching this, give yourself a pat on the back, because you're already preparing yourself for your retirement. Okay, but seek help. Okay, talk to your HR, talk to other coworkers. Read our blog. There's other blogs out there. There's a lot of information that's available. Go to tsp.gov, opm.gov. Get your questions answered and understand what you have, what's available, and how to plan for retirement, because it's going to come sooner than you think. Okay, and this is another something that I would suggest is double check everything somebody tells you. Okay, I had a quote that I actually put on the blog, and it says, the advice given is only as good as the advisor. And that's something that my pastor, that's a piece of advice he gave me, and it's something that, I suggest to everyone. The advice given is only as good as the advisor. So if a coworker tells you something and you're unsure, go find it somewhere else. If I tell you something and you're unsure about it, go find it somewhere else. And if it's wrong, if I'm wrong, come back and let me know and we'll fix it. Okay, but just be aware and seek help. It's going to help you out. So the top 5 in order are: start a rainy day fund, know how much you're paying for your benefits, invest 5% in the TSP, get rid of debt, and then finally seek help. So if this has helped you, if you have other questions, comments, leave them in the comments section below. I look forward to doing more videos, and I thank you for watching.